So, get a load of this. Cheese wheels have their own taste in music. Plus, different music genres have various effects on cheese flavor. For example, hip-hop music gives cheese a funky twist, while cheese chilling with Mozart turns out milder. What? Cheesemaker Beat Wampfler and a team of researchers placed 9 22-pound wheels of cheese in individual wooden crates. Over the next 6 months, each cheese got a continuous 24-hour loop of a single song. It was done with the help of a mini transducer beaming sound waves directly into the cheese wheels. Okay, who even thought of doing that in the first place? So the classical cheese enjoyed Mozart, and the rock cheese jammed to Led Zeppelin. The ambient cheese listened to Yellow, the hip-hop cheese grooved to A Tribe Called Quest, and the techno cheese raved to Vril's UV. There was even a control cheese wheel left in silence. On top of that, 3 more cheeses were exposed to simple high, medium, and low frequency tones. The researchers examined the cheese afterward and found that the musically exposed cheese had a milder flavor compared to the silent cheese. The hip-hop cheese, in particular, had a stronger aroma and flavor than the others. A panel of culinary experts blind tasted the cheeses to ensure the results weren't just a matter of personal preference. Their findings matched those of the research group. To dig deeper into the science behind this, the cheese underwent a biomedical survey. In that way, researchers could see if there were actual structural differences among the cheeses. This has marketing potential as well. Imagine you're in a grocery store and pick your cheese based on its musical influence. So it's not surprising that people have already requested cheeses matured to the blues, Balkan music, or AC/DC. If music can affect even a cheese wheel, what can it do to us? We feel it when we're lying under the stars or tapping our feet to the rhythm at a club. Yet we're probably not thinking about the science behind it or how it affects our brains. The intersection of music and neuroscience is a hot topic these days. It brings together neuroscientists and musicians. For example, neuroscientist Richard Davison and jazz pianist Ben Sidran focused on the concept of time. Their research has shown that staying in the present can make us happier. Davidson mentioned an experiment involving people with meditation experience. Sounds can anchor our attention and keep us in the moment. Another experiment examined the phenomenon of musical chills or shivers. Some people get that delightful tingling sensation when they listen to a piece of moving music. Researchers found that dopamine is released in the brain during moments of intense emotional response to music. If music can trigger pleasure, it might have important implications for education, biology, and health. The Mozart effect experiments in the 1990s explored the connection between music and IQ. Listening to Mozart temporarily enhances spatial-temporal reasoning. In other words, it improves the kind of thinking needed for strategic games like chess. This led to programs in public schools designed to enhance children's problem-solving abilities through music education. But some questions remain unanswered. Why does one person get chills from a musical piece while somebody else doesn't? Musical preferences seem to develop before birth and are influenced by our memories, education, and culture. The life story of a composer can also affect our musical taste. Knowing the background of a piece of music can infuse it with a sense of wonder or historical significance. And then there's the intriguing question of whether music is a universal language. Leonard Bernstein's lectures in the 1970s explored the idea of a universal musical syntax, sounds and sequences that convey the same meaning across cultures. This concept is supported by the idea that certain kinds of music have a universal appeal and impact. Lullabies are common worldwide and can influence heart rate and respiration in neonatal intensive care units. In modern music therapy, sound vibrations are used as a rehabilitative tool. Another study says that listening to sad or happy music influences our mood and changes what we notice in our surroundings. For example, people exposed to happy music tend to identify more happy faces. Yet the impact of music on mood and perception varies from person to person. While some individuals may feel worse after listening to sad songs, others may experience emotional relief. Beyond mood and emotions, music can influence everyday tasks. For this, you need to engage with music. Dancing or attending music events can enhance happiness and overall well-being. The tempo of the music can also affect our productivity during tasks. You might have noticed how faster-paced music energizes us during repetitive or monotonous activities. How about animals? Well, in an amusing 2015 study, researchers found that cats have their own musical preferences. But while they might give human music a cold shoulder, they're responsive to melodies tailored exclusively for their little furry ears. The study's lead author explained that they weren't trying to mimic cat sounds. They aimed to create music with the right pitch and tempo to charm them. They played 2 specially composed cat songs. In return, they received heartwarming reactions. Those included purring, strolling toward the speaker, and even a bit of affectionate rubbing. Now, we're shifting our attention from felines to parrots. No, not Jimmy Buffett's parrot heads, but the real birds. A 2009 Harvard study suggested a link between vocal mimicry and musical timing in animals. In simpler terms, if an animal can imitate sounds using its voice, it's got rhythm in its bones. The researchers even used YouTube, turning the platform into their experimental dance floor. They slowed down videos of animals grooving to the beat. The outcome? 14 parrot species were all capable of mimicking sounds. So, who knew posting videos of your pet parrot jamming to Daft Punk could be more than just cute entertainment? Alright, it's time to move on to cows. Just like us, they have their preferred genre of music when they want to relax. In a 2001 study, a group of cows was treated to tunes with varying tempos. Slow melodies like REM's Everybody Hurts and Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony competed with faster beats, including Jamiroquai's Space Cowboy and the Wonder Stuff's Size of a Cow. How apropos. The cows went for the slower, soothing tunes. After 12 hours of listening to them, there was a 3% boost in milk production. Now, when you introduce a crocodile to classical music, it's pretty similar to what happens in the brains of birds and mammals when they get exposed to complex stimuli. Crocodiles are incredibly ancient creatures. They are a bridge between dinosaurs and today's birds. Understanding how their nervous systems react give us hints about how this system has been evolving over time. You might have heard that music affects plant growth too. Do you think it's a myth? The truth is still a matter of debate. This concept that music can influence plant growth gained popularity with the publication of The Secret Life of Plants in 1973. This book discusses plants and humans' physical, emotional, and spiritual relationships. It included scientific studies that implied the positive effects of music on plant growth. One of the earliest studies was conducted in 1962. Balsam plants were exposed to classical music and had a 20% increase in their growth rate compared to a control group. There was a similar study where crops exposed to raga music yielded 25% to 60% more than the national average. Researchers experimented with various instruments. It turned out that the violin was the most effective. Engineer Eugene Canby also conducted experiments. He exposed wheat fields to Bach's Violin Sonata. Boom! 66% increase in yield. Researcher Dorothy Rotella conducted experiments with different types of music, including classical, jazz, and rock. Plants exposed to soothing music grew in the direction of the speakers, while those exposed to discordant rock music grew away from the speakers. The underlying theory is that plants exhibit an empathetic response to the music they hear. They are potentially stimulated by the vibration of sound waves, which affects stuff like the music of nutrients and organelles in plant fluids. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Some skeptics argue that more research is needed, with stricter controls over growing conditions like light, soil, and water, before we can definitely link music to plant growth. Or maybe they're just singing the blues. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.